with a fickle mind, we kicked the nipple beer, steady as a goat, we're flying over trout, ghetto down the highway at the speed of light. All I wanna feel now is the wind in my eyes, sack of monkeys in my pocket, my sister's ready to go. Hear the engines roll now, idiot control now, hideous control now, Nitty on the road now, Mitty in control, wheels on fire, burning rubber tires.
Hello and welcome to the MSTieCast. I'm your host, Toby Mobius. Here with me is my cohort, Joshua McLeod.
Hi there.
And joining us tonight, Nash, Bozard, and Deenihan of Radio Dead Air and What the Fuck Is Wrong With You. Say hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
It's really great to have you here. I've been following Radio Dead Air for about a year. My friend Kit got me into it, and Kit, I believe, did the art for your technical difficulties card on Doctor Who Classics and stuff like that.
Actually, no, that one is way older. That one I got that from a friend like about 6 years ago.
Huh. I saw a picture like that in her gallery. So, oh, she did the Todd Gusta thing like a couple months back. Yeah, she's awesome. Hi, Kit. Well, first things first, since this is the MSTieCast and we are all about Mystery Science Theater, Nash, how did you get into MST3K?
Okay, let's see. Probably 96, I want to say. Yeah, it was probably 96. Back in the Comedy Central days, and still had Joel. And you got to understand, back then, we didn't have none of these fancy internets. And so it was...
Back in my day.
Yeah, we didn't. I mean, man, the idea of the cell phone was this goddamn big. It was TV or nothing. If you
on a cell phone back then.
If you wanted anything, it was TV or nothing. But there was really no... TV, maybe radio.
Radio.
Yeah. Remember when radio actually played stuff other than crap?
Yep.
No.
Yes.
So, yeah, it was different. It was interesting and funny and unique because I'd never seen anything like it before. I think the closest I'd ever seen was when I was really, really young. There was a show called Mad Movies that they did. They would like redub old movies like the Inspector General and stuff like that. They'd redub really old stuff, and I saw that and I loved that when I was a kid, but nothing since. And then MST came and I was hooked immediately. I was trying to get other people hooked too, and we didn't have the internet, but we did have dial-up, and we had a local dial-up internet service provider that it was really innovative. 12 people could chat at the same time.
Wow.
And Saturday nights we'd all get together and we would watch MST3K from our own home. We were in the same city, all in our own homes, watching TV and typing about it. We were truly ahead of our time.
Now we all sit in the same room and watch TV and type at each other about it.
Yeah.
I actually do that with my friends. We watch Gravity Falls and type at each other. And he lives not 5 minutes away.
We're ruined.
We've come a long way.
They say that the internet's ruined personal connections with people.
Truly, we live in the future.
Future kind of sucked.
I don't know. If not for the internet, I wouldn't get to wound Nash's psyche once a week.
True that.
He takes great pleasure in this.
That's pastime I've come to enjoy.
Nash, you said you started with Joel, but which one do you prefer, Mike or Joel?
Don't do it. No, I'm not going to do it. That's a trap, my friend.
We've already done the episode on Joel and Mike.
I'm not. No. You are the devil. That is a trap. I am not going to answer that question.
I look nothing like Bennett the Sage, sir.
I am not going to answer that question because I will get untold amount of whichever one I go with. I like both equally. My favorite is Frank. There you go.
He hates the sci-fi era. He hates the sci-fi era. He hates the sci-fi era. There's no Frank in sci-fi.
Well, no, that's technically not true.
Is that like a civil war between fans?
Oh,
Joel and Mike, yes.
Yeah.
The Great Flame Wars of 1993.
A lot of innocent women and children died during that war.
Kind of like when they replaced Steve on Blue's Clues with Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brand new host for the show and two completely different styles of comedy, and all hell broke loose.
Bob Barker and Drew Carey.
Yeah. Should we really make the comparison between Joel and Mike and Bob Barker and Drew Carey?
It was a microcosm of that.
It's kind of the same thing, except not for old people.
The first Darren on Bewitched and the second Darren on Bewitched. Oh wait, nobody even noticed that.
Well, those Darrens and Will Ferrell's Darren.
I'm not going to weigh in on that one. That is a trap, sir. I will not do it.
That valid answer.
I personally preferred Maurice.
Oh, he was a great host.
I thought he was genius.
We should mention Tara has never seen the show.
I've seen like clips from it. Like I'm aware of it as an entity and what it is and what they do there, but I've never actually like watched an episode of it.
Well, there's Netflix, and pretty much every episode is on YouTube. So
yeah, every freaking episode.
Yep.
Even the ones they don't want you to see, they're on YouTube.
Manos. Go watch Manos. Get started with Manos. That's the perfect one to start with.
That's one
I've heard that is empirically the worst movie ever made.
They're wrong.
There's worse.
There's worse.
And yet, it is one of the funniest episodes they ever did.
That was my first episode. Not my favorite, but it was my first. We actually did the top. We did our top 5 last week. My favorite episode is Soul Taker.
Yeah.
That's what's yours.
Night of the Iguana.
Night of the Iguana?
Yeah. One of the early ones.
No.
Is that a porn film?
Yeah.
Josh is...
Yeah, are you making a joke? Because that's not an episode of Mystery Science.
Giant
The giant Gila monster?
That would, yeah, the Gila monster, that thing.
He stumps everyone. I got one on him once, and it was a technicality.
Whichever one, the Lord said, die, children, die. That one, I fucking love
that. That would be the giant Gila monster with,
Gila monster. Gila monster, just an inherently fun set of words to say. Gila monster.
I thought it was inherently...
Sarah's lost, don't worry.
Yeah.
That's all right.
That's fine.
Hard not to be lost when you're doing a conversation about a giant eel monster and killer shrews, but whatever.
By the way, Tara, the episode I would start with, one of my favorites is Werewolf.
Okay.
That's a very good one to start with. It's very silly, very low-budget film, and it's got Charlie Sheen's uncle in it, so...
Ooh.
Yeah, Joe Estevez.
Wow.
We talked with Lupa about that one, I think.
Or there's always Rousauer or Mitch.
Final Sacrifice.
Or
Brain That Wouldn't Die is a good one. Lots of good starter episodes. We'll make a list later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, that'd be a great episode topic.
You don't have TV, so it's free to watch.
It's true, yeah. I usually live and die by, like, old episodes of Lost on Hulu. Or I started watching all the way through old episodes of The X-Files on Hulu.
Oh, there are episodes on Hulu, too. It's on Hulu, Netflix, on demand. It pretty much everywhere because I guess it's cheap to license.
And easy to upload illegally, but that's beside the point.
Very much so.
Now, those are the same guys that now do riff tracks, correct?
Half the team does riff tracks, half the team does cinematic Titanic. So.
Oh.
But everybody's cool with everybody. They do two different things.
One is more mainstream cinema, and the other is more
B-movie kind of stuff.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Well, I would make the argument that some of today's movies are B-movies, but more older type movies, like more of the Brain That Wouldn't Die type stuff, more 50s sci-fi.
East meets Watts.
Which is not the actual title, but whatever.
Going back into the cast thing, we were wondering about this because we both saw it. Josh saw it more recently than I did. What was it like being able to speak to Trace and Joel?
Oh, Trace and Joel. Well, Trace I'd actually talked to, let's see, once before I talked to Trace, so I already knew him. And Joel, that was kind of a little bit of a coup. I mean, it was intimidating because this was one of the guys kind of inspired me to be funny in front of TV shows and movies. So it was a little intimidating, but, you know, I just kind of sucked it up, and I'm like, okay, opportunity, I want to do it. But very laid back, and I've come to find most people who get to be some measure of famous, they are decent human beings, and they're like, oh, cool, you like what I'm doing, and you want to talk about it. Okay, cool, no problem, no big. And they're very accommodating. If they have the time, they'll talk to you. So, yeah, they were very cool about it. Let's see, we did Mike over the internet. I wasn't physically on that one. I set that one up for Lewis and Lindsay. Yeah, I've talked to a bunch of them over the years, but they're very laid back guys, and they're very cool, and they're happy to talk to their fans. They're very accessible.
Very cool, very cool.
So what is the worst movie ever? Let's get that debate on the table.
What is the worst movie ever? My personal opinion or?
Yeah, your personal opinion.
The Cell. It's a bad
Cell?
movie. Would have been a great 9 Inch Nails video. Bad movie.
Is that the one with what's her name?
With Jennifer Lopez going
yeah,
into Vincent D'Onofrio's brain, and and the horse
How did
gets
they
all.
pitch that?
But that director did the most famous REM video ever. He did "Losing My Religion," and that's what he was really famous for at the time. And then they're like, "Oh, this is going to be great. That guy obviously has a real great eye for visual. No clue with narrative." So it was really pretty, if totally disturbing.
I'm trying to think. Some movies have just made me angry.
Most things make you angry.
No, some movies have made me really angry to the point that I'm trying to think of if the ones I might have walked out on.
Dark Knight Rises made me angry.
Yeah, that one pissed me off. That was not a Batman movie.
No, it was just a cop-out ending.
Oh, I have a story about that.
I was all good until the last 10 minutes, and then I was like, oh, cop-out!
I have a story about that.
Good first act, good second act, third act. What the f***?
See,
what the hell happened?
I thought the first 2/3 were a big old mess, and it didn't come together until the end. And then they punted at the very end, but I thought it was needlessly convoluted.
Not a Batman movie. Not a Batman movie. So trying to think of what I consider the worst. I know what I consider the movies I like the best, but worst. Normally I think movies that bore me tend to be the worst. Which that can be kind of bad because some really good movies I would consider boring, like Remains of the Day and English Patient. Those are really good movies, but they bore the shit out of me. I am such a guy, I guess. Man, I can't. All right. In terms of what people consider the worst movie ever, I've seen Garbage Pail Kids. Yeah, that one's pretty bad. Pretty bad. Personal experience. Yeah, I think it just came to me. I'm thinking back on all the stuff because I had HBO when I was young, and that was like window on the world. That was, this was like when after years and years of just 4 channels, suddenly cable. It was amazing. And I would watch any old damn thing in the middle of the night just because it was on. Meatballs 3. Awful, ridiculous movie. Because, not only did it not have Bill Murray, suddenly aliens.
Is that the one with Pee Wee Herman? Or is that 4?
That's probably 4.
Okay.
If you'd seen 3, you'd remember because there's a fucking alien. It was like, hey, they just did E.T., so we'll do aliens too. And no. It was bad.
Sierra, what about you? Well, in your opinion, what is the worst movie?
The worst movie? Well, I named a couple. I really don't. I'm trying to think what is like the empirically worst movie I've ever seen, though. The second X-Files movie just still wounds my soul. That was a really bad movie. Even if you don't consider it an X-Files movie, it was a really bad movie full of unlikable characters and plot that you couldn't possibly care about.
Even former members of the cast didn't like that one.
No.
Dean Haglund did not like that movie.
David Duchovny blamed its flopping on the fact that they opened it against Batman. And I'm like, honey, don't blame Batman.
No.
He didn't turn Dana Scully into a hateful bitch. But worst movie ever. God, that's tough. I think the worst movie I've ever seen in a theater was probably The Crow City of Angels.
God, that's a bad movie.
I mean, even Iggy Pop couldn't save that piece of crap.
What is The Crow City of Angels?
Bad movie.
It's the sequel to The Crow.
The first sequel, because they've made like 16 by now. But it's the first sequel where the little girl from the first one is all grown up and working as a tattoo artist. And there's a new guy who's made the new Crow because he and his son are murdered. And that girl, mentors him through being the Crow because she knows anything about it. And then, sleeps with him because who doesn't want to sleep with a dead guy wearing goth makeup?
And the bad guy is the assistant district attorney from Law and Order.
Yeah, and they have another random Asian lady because they're like, well, Bai-Ling was a big hit in the first one, so let's get another random Asian lady. And the big bad guy sells drugs but owns an S&M club, and they do this whole Dia de la Muerte thing for no reason at all. And Iggy Pop is in it, and it's just ridiculous. It has a really good soundtrack, but it's a piece of crap movie.
Yeah,
Some guy died, like, in a peep show booth. Like, he doesn't have more money. He takes too long getting his money in, so the girl disappears, and then when the thing reopens, it's the crow, and he gets, like, his eyes gouged out while he spooges all over the booth, and it's just utterly ridiculous. Iggy Pop's dead body floats away down a river of excrement in the sewer, and people just randomly throw flowers at a dead bad guy for no reason, and they form up into the shape of a crow, just because, that happens all the time. It's really bad.
That movie pissed me off, too. Because were you like me? Because I remember my senior year of high school, we would cut last period, and I think we saw that thing like 10 times in the theater. What? The original, the first
one. Oh, okay.
The first one, it was, which is why the second one pissed me off so bad. Because we loved that first one, and then the second one, we're like, just made us sad.
The first Crow movie was the first date I ever went on.
I wasn't able to cut classes at my school.
I just didn't because I was a goody-goody.
Well, my last period was a study hall, so they didn't
We didn't have study hall, so...
I was like 3 credits ahead, and they didn't care.
They made a third Crow movie with Edward Furlong and Kirsten Dunst that I never saw. But just the fact that Edward Furlong and Kirsten Dunst were in a Crow movie kind of makes me regret that I never saw it, because that had to be epically bad.
Was that the one where they electrocuted Edward Furlong?
I think so.
Yeah, he was with the electric chair, so yeah.
And
good start.
The rumor is they're remaking the original. I don't know why you would do that. That's, it's cheesy.
They're remaking everything. Yeah. They're remaking Highlander. Like, Ryan Reynolds has been attached to the Highlander remake.
And I love me some Ryan Reynolds, don't get me wrong. Like, I would watch him read the phone book, but...
The fact that it's Ryan Reynolds doesn't bug me nearly as much as the fact that the woman who wrote the Twilight movies is writing it.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I think the guys who produced Fast 5.
Ooh.
Someone is going to murder them. Yeah. I'm predicting it right now. Someone will rise up and murder the production.
Ryan Reynolds as Connor McLeod is the least of our problems.
So that's going to win all the MTV Movie Awards, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Maybe a Spike Award if they're lucky.
Ooh. Maybe a Teen Choice. Because there is nothing about Highlander that shouldn't win a whole lot of Teen Choice Awards.
And this is kind of why I miss MST3K, but I'm glad there's riff tracks, because God bless them. Some of these movies, it's the only way it's bearable. Twilight, you cannot sit through it without wanting to gouge an organ.
To sit through Twilight?
What?
Have you tried to sit through Twilight?
Oh, yeah, because, I'll tell you why. Because Twilight with the riff track, suddenly it is the feel-good comedy of the year.
Yep.
Because I watched a few minutes of it without the riff track. Then I added the riff track, and everything was beautiful.
I would make the argument that it's already the feel-good comedy of the year without it.
You know what's going to be the worst part of the new Highlander movie is, I bet you they are not going to recycle A Kind of Magic by Queen for the soundtrack.
Oh, they'll get a cover band.
Yeah,
it's going to be awful.
And really, what's the point of Highlander without Who Wants to Live Forever?
If they cover A Kind of Magic, if they cover that album, heads will roll. We already have Sacha Baron Cohen playing Freddie Mercury. How much do you expect us to take?
It doesn't bother me. I think he'll do good. When asked to actually act, he can be quite good. It's when you just put him in a silly costume and let him loose on the populace that it all goes awry. When called upon to actually do things, he's quite talented. And like Freddie Mercury, let's be honest. I mean, put spandex unitard and damn.
I think it'll come down to who writes the movie. Because it could go either way. They could want Cohen to be funny in it.
That is the big... So few movies make me excited. So few movies are actually worth your money. I think you can count on one hand in a year how many movies are actually worth it.
Well, for what they charge now.
We went to see Prometheus. Cost us about $20, IMAX 3D. Whole God, not worth it. And they tricked us. They're like, no, Ridley Scott is back, and he's the original guy, and it's his vision, and You lying sons of bitches! Tricked us! Because the man's obviously out of his mind.
Well, at least you're not blaming it on poor Damon Lindelof.
I do think the highlight of that movie is watching what's his name? Played the old dude. Guy.
I haven't seen Prometheus. So.
Guy Pearce. Yeah, the highlight of the movie is watching Guy Pearce. Spoilers. Watching an alien beat Guy Pearce to death with Michael Fassbender's head. Highlight of the film.
That happened?
That happens.
That actually happens.
That actually
I have to see this, like when it comes out on DVD.
A great big alien beats Guy Pearce to death with Michael Fassbender's head. That
sounds like it'd be worth $1 in Redbox.
Now here's a question. Here's a nerd-tastic question. Michael Fassbender is an android. Presumably he's at least part metal, right?
Insides, yes.
So if he's an android and he's like, which one will win? Which Michael Fassbender would win in a fight? Android Michael Fassbender or Magneto Michael Fassbender? Because presumably the android's like super strong and isn't going to get injured and stuff, but Magneto Michael Fassbender could totally just be like, why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself?
Put your comments below.
Michael Fassbender in Prometheus, he would lose because, God, he was... Bless his heart, he tried, but that character was so... It was... The whole movie was bad. It's one of those movies, and I hate this, a movie that is completely ruined if you stop to think for 2 seconds. If you ask any question of the film for 2 seconds, the entire and it's not like big questions, not like that didn't make sense because scientifically I did it. No, it's little questions like, this is humanity's first contact with aliens. Why are you only sending 10 people in this little rust bucket ship?
Budget.
They spent $1 trillion and they're only sending like 10, 15 guys. $1 trillion.
They didn't have any more money left.
You're supposed to have the willful suspension of disbelief.
My ass.
Because they want to establish whether we're friendly with the aliens or whether we're actually exporting the entire population of Florida there.
The guy who made the map with his little electronic map making thingy is the first guy to get lost in the ship. Yeah, exactly. He made the map. He's got it on his little thingy. He's lost. What the
I also am curious why, when they got into trouble, Idris Elba couldn't just open the Bifrost and beam them home.
Crossing the streams, honey.
Aliens versus Avengers. 2015.
My point here is
I'd watch that movie.
I would too.
I would watch Robert Downey Jr. smack talk an alien. I would.
The Thor hits over the head.
It used to be kind of rare that bad movies would get top billing. I mean, there would always be those little... You'd have your Friday the 13th sequels, and you'd have all those, old crappy... Like, what was that? Split Second with Rutger Hauer. You ever seen that one? That's an awful little nothing movie. But it got made, and it was not given the prominence of Twilight and Prometheus and stuff like that. And I think that's why stuff like MST3K and has evolved into riff tracks and why Cinematic Titanic stays around, because we kind of need it. Because some of these films just, on their own, you have to wonder who greenlit them.
I would argue that crap has been top-selling movies for a long time. I mean, if you look back on our beloved movies from the 80s, a lot of them are crap.
Oh, a lot of them are crap, but those you went in. Those didn't get the big, huge budgets, like the big top. Those were not the best movies of the year or the best-selling movies of the year.
What are you defining as crap from the 80s?
Well, all right. Think of anything after Friday the 13th Part 2.
Yeah, that never got top billing. Maybe the second one, but
anything after Jaws 2. Let's see.
Gremlins 2 was huge. Crap.
Exception that proves the rule.
But it was crap, but at least it was well produced crap.
It was enjoyable to some extent.
And it still didn't get the kind of budget that like a Spielberg film would get, But now, Prometheus, budget, huge budget, total piece of shit. How does that happen now?
Because Avatar made a lot of money.
Oh, Jesus God.
Did Avatar have product placement? Seems like a weird question. Like, that $300 million had to have come from somewhere.
I'm trying to think. I don't know. I'm trying to think maybe in that guy's office. You know, the sleazy corporate guy.
Well,
yeah,
they
you
had
think
him,
that'd be the place to put it.
They did do a viral video of him speaking at the TED conference.
No, that was
before
Prometheus.
the movie.
That was
Okay.
Prometheus.
Oh, I
Is that not what we're talking
remember Sigourney Weaver's Avatar was wearing like a Nike shirt or something.
Yeah, I remember.
Because I don't
Or
care
they
how
were
good a
wearing
director
Nikes and
you
stuff.
are. I don't care how successful Titanic was. You're not going to get $300 million to make your movie without some help from budgeteers.
I think that was a really bad movie that nobody kind of. When we first saw it, and I went to the theater, sat down and saw it, I was saying lines to myself before the people on the screen said them, and I'd never seen the movie before. That's bad.
I think I decided that movie wasn't going to get my money as soon as I read the first review that said they were looking for an element called unobtainium. And I was like, that just tells me you're not even trying. What are we going to call this mystery element? I don't know. Well, I don't know. Just we can't obtain it. Unobtainium!
We have 128 elements in the periodic table, and that was the best we could come up with.
Right. Like, you couldn't sit down some nerd in a room for 2 hours and have him write down 100 words and see what would come up with. An intern could have done that in an hour for you.
Couldn't have named it like Einsteinium. They couldn't named it Hawkinganium. They could named it after some famous scientist. No.
Unobtainium.
Call it Wonderflonium. I don't care. Come up with something better than unobtainium. James Cameron.
Makes you wonder what the 99 choices they rejected were.
Flubber. No. Damn.
Can't get it.
You see, they had a bunch of great names. It's just they were all trademarked.
Really hard to find them.
Adamantium's totally taken.
Snapple. No. Can't. Damn.
Oh.
Well, by then that much, they would have gotten a product endorsement from Snapple.
See, they should have. That's what Avatar should have been. They should have been going to this planet to discover the 11 secret herbs and spices and done a KFC deal. And that would have been amazing. And found out that it's not actually 11 herbs and spices, that the reason the Colonel's chicken is so good is because it's not chicken, it's those flying things.
They wanted to see why kids love the taste of Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Yes. This is why Nash hates me. This is why I wonder every week why I have a job on his show.
I'm just trying to think. This year, I think Avengers has been the only movie that I really flat out enjoy. I was able to deal with The Dark Knight Rises, but it wasn't very good. Prometheus was no. Hope took me to see The Secret World of Arietti. Oh God.
Well, that was a couple
awful.
years ago.
No, that was this year.
I think it was 2011.
Arietti was this year. No, that was this year.
I think it came out somewhere else before it came out here.
No, it may have come out a little earlier in England, but it was released this year. It was Ghibli just finished it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're right. I was thinking about
it. I actually really enjoyed Amazing Spider-Man more than I thought I would.
He shot people in the. Spider-Man does not shoot a helpless guy in the.
Spider-Man shouldn't make deals with the devil either.
I know, right? No, Tara's confused. Okay.
I haven't seen it yet.
Scene in the movie where Spider-Man, he's got the web shooters, he's got, and just like in the comics, he could do a stream or he could do that impact webbing. He's got this carjacker. Now, and it's not even a carjacker, it's like a car thief, because there's nobody in the car. Guy's stealing a car. He shoots his arm, stuck him to a wall. Legs stuck to a wall. The guy's helpless now. He
gags him too.
Yeah, starts to scream for help. Spider-Man gags him too. I can see this because he might be calling his thugs to come over and beat up Spider-Man. That would suck. But then Spider-Man starts being a prick. And they start shooting at him just for fun and wallops him in the nuts with impact webbing. And at that point, I'm like, what are you doing?
Was that before the "with great power comes great responsibility"?
They never say that line in the movie.
What?
Here's the rationale.
I'm kind of glad they didn't.
How are you gonna have a Spider-Man movie and not say that line?
Here's the rationale. Well, everybody knows that about Spider-Man. It's something that every single person knows.
No.
So we've got to tell the origin again.
No. That's like when they did Superman Returns, a movie I actually like, and had Perry White say, does he still stand for
truth,
peace,
justice, all that stuff?
All that stuff. No, it's in the American way. If you're going to do it right.
That moment of nut bashery aside, I really enjoyed Amazing Spider-Man. I really liked the Uncle Ben Peter dynamic. I really liked that Aunt May wasn't some frigid old lady who's gonna die at the drop of a hat.
I don't know that I can see that movie because after The Departed, I'm still pretty traumatized, and I don't know that I can watch Martin Sheen die again. I love Martin Sheen. I was a big West Wing fan, and I just don't know. Like, The Departed, that messed me up when all of a sudden he's a Martin Sheen puddle.
It's getting up there in years. You're going to have to deal with it sooner or later.
You shush. Martin Sheen is never going to die, ever. Josiah Bartlett will live forever.
I think Marvel...
And he's Uncle Ben, which is basically like casting Sean Bean, so you know he's a goner.
I had to tell Hope that we were just mentioned Sean Bean. I mentioned to Hope that Sean Bean did a voice for a character in Oblivion, the Elder Scrolls Oblivion, and she goes, "So does he die?" And I go, "Yeah." And she goes, "There you go."
As far as movies this year, though, I did also like The Hunger Games.
I haven't seen it. Yeah.
I haven't read the books. I haven't read the books, but that was actually, I went to see it because I figured it doesn't look bad, and it was actually better than I walked in expecting.
Everybody was saying it was the anti-Twilight, and I approve of this.
It kind of is. There are parts of it that are really hokey, and as I understand it, there are parts of it that are important in the book that they kind of gloss over in the movie. But I really liked it. I thought it was good. It was really interesting and sort of bleak without being completely depressing, and Jennifer Lawrence is fantastic. That girl's a badass.
Oh, and oh, good lord. Just thinking about it. The way the fans freaked out that one girl in the Hunger Games,
they made the little girl black. Yeah,
they lost their damn minds.
And I guess in the book they don't really specify. So the movie people are just like, well, and they actually, in the movie, they made that whole district like a largely black population. Because it's America, so there are portions of America that are a largely ethnic population of whatever type. And so I guess, I don't know that they specified that in the book or not. Like I said, I haven't read it. But in the movie, when they show what happens to that little girl and they cut back to her home district, it's a mostly African-American population, which I thought was kind of realistic because, like, I forget what region that district was supposed to be, but it was a region of the United States that has a really large African-American population. So that made perfect sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, this is a funny dichotomy. Fans of that book lost their shit over the fact that one character was black. Yet comics fans surprised me that they didn't themselves that Heimdall in the Thor movie was black.
Oh, they did though.
No, that wasn't the comics fans. That was a white supremacist group.
I thought the comics freaked out too.
No, comics fans were like, cool.
Because I remember there being a thing that one of the Warriors 3 was an Asian dude as well.
Well, that's kind of Hogan the Grim. He kind of looks Asian-ish in the comic. You can't really tell.
Flipping out about that.
Well,
he's not annoyed that I love Tom Hiddleston and he does a great job, but I still don't understand why Loki looks like Johnny Weir.
Well, like, Hogan
that's
the Grim,
not the Loki as I understand it from Norse mythology at all.
Don't do that. You read the comics. You know full well. You read Marvel. You know full well about Loki.
I know. It's incongruous to me because I guess I'm more accustomed to the Loki from American Gods, and so when they're like, "This is Loki," I'm like, "That's Johnny Weir. When's he gonna skate to Bad Romance?"
They could have gone with the chick version of Loki just to mess with you, okay?
I'd have been okay with that. I am still trying to get Firestar in Avengers 2. Damn it, I'm gonna make that happen. Joss Whedon is on board. I'm gonna start stalking him tomorrow. And it's going to happen. I'm going to make it happen. Firestar, Avengers 2. Tell your friends.
Did you catch that, America?
Bless your heart.
Actually, a question I meaning to ask you. How did you guys meet up? and
Speaking of Avatar.
Oh, we're going to get in trouble for this one. We're both members of fan club for White Wolf Games. It was called the Camarilla. What is it called now? Midnight Dance or...
It's the Mind's Eye Society.
Eye Society. This week, yeah. They renamed it, but it's for White Wolf Games, Vampire the Masquerade, Werewolf, all that stuff. And we were in an IRC chat room. And the group, we've got some rules about how you conduct yourself with other members. You're supposed to not be to one another. But people take that a little far, and they get a little authority, and they lose their damn minds because I'm an authority. I can have power over you.
Damn. Of the nerds.
You're in a goddamn gaming society, dude. Come on. Really? Pass the conch. Don't drop a rock on Piggy, okay? But someone came into the channel, and we were talking about there's people called otherkin. And if you're not familiar with this, otherkin,
Google it.
Otherkin believe that their souls are not human souls. Now, it starts off kind of sane, given some other religions. They believe perhaps they have a wolf soul, or a hawk soul, or a whale soul. I don't know.
Nobody has the uncool animal souls.
Nobody has, like, aardvark souls.
You could go for weeks, and you will never find someone who has the soul of a platypus.
Nobody has,
someone got the soul of a dung beetle.
Right, yeah.
They only have the awesome animal souls.
I'm a dragon.
That's when we start getting... That's the next level of crazy, is... So, some otherkin decide they have the soul of a dragon, or a unicorn, or a
Navi.
Then there's the otaku-kin, who think they have the souls of anime characters.
And that's when we're starting to... I have Sephiroth soul, and apparently you could have 2 Sephiroth souled people, and they're both okay with this.
You can have up to 7, and they'll have a conversation. I still have that link somewhere.
They're all okay with this.
Yeah.
And then we had the Navi-kin, who believed their souls were Navi from a movie that James Cameron just made up. They weren't born when James Cameron made up this movie, yet somehow, suddenly, their souls are this thing. And Tara and I were both in the channel, we presented with this, and we both start going off on this immediately.
Because we're bad people.
We're questioning the logic of this and the theory of this.
Because how could you not?
We're punching holes, and we got in trouble. Or did I
ask somebody if their soul was a Terminator.
Is that viable?
Are you a T-1000? Is your soul Robert Patrick?
I'm Optimus Prime! I call Optimus Prime! You can't have it! I got dibs!
I've always said I wanted to join one of those communities and say that I was soulbound to Pikachu and just post long diatribes that read nothing but Pika! Pika! Choo! Pikachu! And when they get mad at me, be like, why are you hating that? This is my soul.
And one of the channel operators got all pissed. They're like, you can't be making fun of them. And I'm like, what?
You have to respect their life choice.
You have to respect their lifestyle choice.
And then Nash got called a bigot.
I got called a bigot because I was actually making logical, rational... James Cameron just made this up. You're 23 years old. How the can you be this thing? Did you time travel? Also, here's the thing. The Navi exist in the future, in story. So you're something that's in the future, but your soul is now. So even if you accept that this is perhaps real in another level of reality, they're in the future. It still doesn't work.
I would say that the Navi exist now. I mean, humanity existed 200 years ago.
Sure, we just haven't found them yet.
For all these questions, I was considered a bigot. And Tara and I bonded over this.
We did.
We're just
we just started private messing each other like, what the is even happening? Are we the crazy ones?
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Yes. And then, I happen to drop in an RDA the next time he did a show because I knew he was going to be talking about it. And, I started hanging out in there. And then, I don't know, maybe a month later, he was like, hey, I'm going to try out this thing now that I have video, I'm going to see if I can Skype people in. You want to do a thing with me? And this is back when RDA had like 50 viewers. Like, and they were all people I knew, because it was only people like in the club who watched RDA. So I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, fine. And we started doing the bit. And then all of a sudden, Nash got picked up by that guy with the glasses, and the viewers started going up and up and up and up. And I'm like, what did I get myself into? And the rest, as they say, is history.
1,000 people watch you live. And this will truly freak you out, Tara. Over the course of a month, over 200, well, all right, let's say same people watching every week, about 50,000 people watch you pre-recorded every month.
That's weird, dude.
That is weird, isn't it?
Like,
1,000 people live every week, 50,000.
I went to Nella's show on last Sunday, and as soon as I walk in, I go up to the bar to get a drink, and this dude walks up to me, and he's like, "Are you Tara from Nash's show?" And I'm like, "Really? That just happened?" And I'm like, "Why, yes, I am. Person I don't know." And he introduces himself. He's like, I let me buy you a drink. I have to buy you a drink. And I'm like, and I didn't pay for a drink the whole night. And I thought that was so weird, because people just kept walking up and being like, "Oh my God, you're Tara from RDA. We have to buy you a drink." And I'm like, what? It's still very strange to me.
So
50,000.
Yeah, well, I get about 300,000 views a month. So 50, 60, say the same people come back every week, or maybe not. Maybe it's closer to 100. I don't know. But yeah, that's, if you just add it up, that's how many people watch you every week.
I'm trying to think of what else would be good to ask. I think that's pretty much it.
I'll say I have one final question, because usually we ask what are your top 5 favorite episodes to end on. What are some episodes you hate of Mystery Science Theater 3000?
Normally, it's
or I shouldn't say. Sorry. I shouldn't say hate. I should say like significantly less than others.
It's normally the ones that the movie themselves are kind of boring, and that makes it hard to get engaged in, because when the movie's more crazy and up, it's easier to be engaged with what they're doing and the zingers and whatnot, because it's very obvious. But and I know I mentioned it, but Mitchell is really boring. You know, they're doing their best, but that's a boring damn movie. I don't like that one so much, because it's hard to get it. You don't know Mitchell. It's a crime drama that they're riffing on, and
starring Joe Don Baker.
Yeah, Joe Don Baker. I think the only thing I remember from Mitchell is, "Mitchell, put your shoes on, honey. We're at Grandma's." That's all I really remember from it, because it was just boring. The movie itself was boring, and those are the ones I can't get into. So Mitchell would fall in there. I'm trying to think of which other ones. Kind of late into the mainly the sci-fi era, because I know I say I don't like the subject matter, but they really you could feel sci-fi's thumb on the show near the end. That you have to do science fiction movies. Why? Because it's sci-fi. So it got a little rough near the end there. I don't think I have any problems with any of the actors or any of the work they did, because I love even when they started having the linked, the whole Pearl thing in outer space.
Story arc.
Even with the story arc, even that, it was still good fun. I loved the in between bits. Even if I didn't like the movie, I loved the in between bits, because they were always fun. They always tried, especially the Pearl thing going on. They were stretching the premise, but they said, "Damn it, we'll still make it entertaining. We'll still try." So Mitch, I'm trying to think of the really bad ones, and it's hard for them to come to mind, because I loved a bunch of them. Mitchell's the one that stands out. Just not because it was bad, because it was the movie itself. I think
Coleman Francis ones.
Don't know. A Puma Man, that was a little boring. I know some people like that one, and it does have some goofy moments, but it's still kind of boring. I was a little bored there.
Red Zone
Overdrawn at the Red Zone Cuba, yeah, Red Zone Cuba is a little boring. Overdrawn at the memory bank a little bit, even though it's Raul Julia, and even though it's kind of crazy what's going on, it's still boring. So yeah, I guess that would round out the ones I can, because I don't really hate what they do with. I know how hard it is riffing on. It's not easy. Even me by myself, it's really not easy. So I appreciate how much work goes into that. And even the in-jokes, even the stuff you had to look up, I loved the you had to look up. Because that was like, I learned because then I'd look it up, I'd find out it was funny, I'd laugh, and I'd know something. So yeah, so I think that the only ones that really bother me are the board.
So basically what we're saying, Tara, is go watch Mr. Science Theater.
Okay.
Watch Manos. You could just type in MST3K Manos, and you will find like 20 videos, places you can find it, legitimate and not. But it's the problem is, and Tara, this is the problem. At the end of every episode, they had a message because it started at a little tiny TV station to begin with, and people would tape the show and send it to their friends, like mail the tape. Mm-hmm. So at the end of every show, they put a message that said, "Keep circulating the tape." 20 years later in the internet era, they're kind of still doing that.
Even though they've made it clear that they kind of, especially a lot of Misties today, use that as their justification for it. It's like, you said we could do it then. And it's like, well, yeah, but we were only on
different now.
That was different then.
We were only available in like 4 cities nationwide then.
So yeah, it's.
Well, I will definitely check it out.
Cool.
Fair warning, it's demented. Manos is demented, to say the least.
Manos is demented. Oh, Santa Claus. That's another one.
Oh, yeah.
I died laughing. It's the Spanish dubbed into English Santa Claus movie. It's terrifying.
He fights the devil.
Santa Claus fights the devil.
Well, he fights the devil.
Santa Claus defeats the Martians.
They did that one. They did that one.
But just Santa Claus is much worse because it's terrifying. It's just
the reindeer.
bizarre.
Oh God.
Yeah. You must see this.
And he's mechanical reindeer. He's not an actual reindeer.
Yeah, it's like a wind up. Yeah. You need to wind them.
That and Santa's slave children from around the world, which are most of them kind of vaguely racist, just a little bit.
Most of them vaguely.
I'm being generous.
Vaguely.
Oh, staying alive. Oh. The old Tom Servo. Anyways, thank you guys for being on the show. It was really awesome to have you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. This is one of the most fun shows I've done. So.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for talking to us for the hour and 7 minutes about nothing. And 20 minutes about Mystery Science.
That's my entire live show. I play music and I talk about. That's what I do. I'm skilled at this. This is my life skill. I'm sad. I'm a sad little man.
All right, and this has been the MSTieCast. Thank you very much for listening. I'm Toby Mobius.
I'm not Lisa.
I'm Nash.
I am also not Lisa, but I am Tara.
Thank you very much for listening. Play us out, Neil.